I didn't know I was going to be interviewed on this video.
Oh, yeah. 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is Nam from Easy Sunday Club.
Hi, it's Cathy.
And today we're talking about
parenting, a topic that we are experts in.
Yeah, we have one kid who's 3.5 years old.
So I was kidding about
so
the
we know
expert
everything.
part.
We know everything there is to like raise a kid, right?
Yeah, no, we don't.
But in particular, purpose of this video is to share how parenthood has affected running our art business and Cathy as an artist in particular. And also good time to do it because we have another kid on the way in April 2022.
This is not just a burrito.
So this topic has been on our mind a lot. So instead of looking at our beautiful curated Instagram page where everything is all smiles, we actually behind the scenes talk and ruminate about our parenthood journey and how it's been affecting our careers a lot.
Yeah, and I know it deviates from our usual content of business strategy and stuff, but I think this is an important part of a journey. And I know a lot of you out there are parents too, of young ones, especially in the harder years in parenting. Let us know in the comment below if you're also parents of young ones.
Yep.
And also, dads are an equal part of this equation in the creating and raising of humans. And I feel like there's not a lot of dads talking about this.
Yeah, I'm definitely not in any dad text chain. So I know you're part of a couple mom text chains.
Dad support group. So maybe this is our way of extending support.
We have some lists of topics that we're going to go, but it's just going to be like popcorn style and very informal. Let you have your take on it, and then I'll have my take on it. So first thing, how has parenthood affected your productivity as an artist?
Well, to be blunt, productivity has definitely sunk a lot. In the first year or two, I went through identity crisis, struggling with being a new mom and a business owner whose business was still in toddler age too. It was only 2 or 3 year old at the time. I used to paint at night where there was no one else to care for. Well, you're on your own anyway after work, but nighttime was my most creative time, was my creative peak, because that was when I started painting when I, after work, when I was still working in corporate. So with a child, we know that 5:30 is our hard stop. We have to stop whatever we're doing and either pick her up from school or get her ready for dinner and spend time with her at night and put her to bed. So there's no excuse. I can't just multitask or ignore her because that's just not an option at this age.
Yeah.
Right. So productivity has sunk. I try to find other times in the day to create, but it does take time to adjust to that because, as you know, if you're a morning person, imagine trying to stay up till midnight to work on something that's important to you, or vice versa. I was not a morning person, so it's really hard for me to wake up at 6 o'clock before my kid wakes up to paint because that itself just takes up creative energy.
Just my observations is that usually on my way home from work, I check in with you to see how you're doing. And I know how well your day is going based on you telling me whether or not you were able to paint that day. If you're able to paint that day, usually a good day. If you're not able to paint, there's like some guilt there. The way Cathy's process is that she usually does each painting at least 3 times. One is like warm up, second is intentional, and then third is like crystallization.
Yeah, that's not happening anymore.
Yeah. So it's just like, that's part of her process, and that takes like time and bandwidth and a different type of energy. What it has affected me, at least in your art, is just figuring out how I can free up your bandwidth by picking up house things or picking up food so that you do have that bandwidth during the 9 to 5 workday to actually create and execute something.
Yeah, I think what's privileged that we do recognize is even though both of us have day jobs, we were able to kind of tag team it. You're able to pick her up from school most days. I'm doing the morning drop-offs. It's like a lot of what partnership is at this stage is just managing the logistics. When we talk to other parents, they go through that too. So just coming up with the system and a routine that works is very important, and it does help with productivity. Now, another thing is on Twitter, we see people saying morning habits of a winner. You wake up at 5 a.m., meditate, go to the gym, and make some protein-rich breakfast. Like, we are just trying to shove our kid into into our clothes and trying to get her to school on time and run morning errands before I can actually sit down and do work. Not complaining. I mean, it's very relatable challenge. It's just part of our routine. Yeah, life's very different when you're a parent. And I know we only have one right now, so when we have two, there's going to be more work. And there are parents out there juggling multiple kids, and they're doing it with such grace. And yeah, I just hope that we will too.
I know it may seem that we are listing a lot of cons. I will set aside a portion later on
The silver
to
lining.
talk about like the growth.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
How has parenthood affected productivity in your business? And I'll talk about how it's affected my work career.
In the short term, I was dealing with a lot of overwhelm because there's part of my brain that's taken up by more and more mom stuff. That was just the emotional labor of being a mom, worrying about all the preparation that goes around raising a young one, and you take on your load of emotional and physical labor too. I'm not saying it's all on me, but moms do take on a lot in the earlier years, and because of that, just mom brain is a real thing because you just only have so much capacity to think about so many things running through your head. And over time, I realized like something has to give, right? So that thing is in the short term my business. That's not to say that I'm going to shut it down. Obviously, it's still very much alive, but I had learned to delegate more in 2021. That was one of my areas of growth. Learn to find and trust in people that can do the type of work that I thought only I could do, but that's obviously not true. At still high quality, and I was able to build a team that I trust and respect, and we have mutual respect with each other, which is really one of the values that I uphold when I thought about starting my own company.
I was part of that journey to help Cathy outsource and ask for help, be able to take certain parts of the Easy Sunday Club operation and consultancy to other artists.
You mean you're the one who is not banging the proverbial hammer down my head? You need to start delegating.
Yeah.
You can't do it by yourself. You need to ask for help.
Yeah,
That was you.
Yeah, that's exactly how I sound.
Yeah.
It's interesting seeing Cathy go through that journey because she is a perfectionist. She does demand a high level of quality associated with the things that she produces for people. But she had to let go of that for a little bit. And because when you give it to somebody else, of course, it's not going to be done exactly the same way that you would do that. And you have to be okay with that. Otherwise, you're just going to get stuck. Keep on doing it for yourself. And also by giving it to other people who are like in different parts of their career, they get to grow and learn from that as well. Last thing is that forced Cathy also to communicate what she wanted and what her vision was to other people. And that's an important skill set as well.
Yeah. If you're a creative who's used to being self-employed and doing everything yourself, it can feel daunting to hire. Like when you hear a business podcast, they talk about in order to scale your business, you have to hire people. And that may sound like you have to hire a full-time working professional or someone expensive, basically, right? That's probably the first thing that comes to mind. But that's not really true for like what we're doing. First of all, there's way more people now that are open and prefer gig economy / freelance economy. So a lot of people who just want to take on different projects that interest them. And secondly, our first hire was really just me asking for our neighbor's help because their kid was home from college and she was willing to help us with some packaging when we had a busy season, right? So it doesn't look like what the textbook business gurus are saying, at least in the beginning. And it just helped to dip your toe in it if you can ask around friends for help, even if it's just asking your neighbor to watch your kid for a few hours while you work on packaging rather than trying to juggle it all. So it's because that's definitely a skill I had to learn. And once you learn it, it gets easier and it really helps.
As far as productivity for my career, besides delegating to others, the other thing is boundaries. We use these words like constraints, but they're also boundaries as well, like preserving your energy, making sure that within a workday you get as much as you can get done. And if it dips into past that, then just making that decision to say no. And it's like, yes, our business might not grow as fast as we want it to, but that's not necessarily the end game. The end game is to succeed in many different areas, not just growing and scaling this business as fast as we can.
Yeah. Do you think that having a kid and knowing their fatherhood responsibilities waiting for you at home makes you more efficient during your day job? Because you can't just bring your work home if you can't finish for the day. Like you also have to partition that time too.
I mean, the answer is yes. Basically, there's anxiety once the afternoon goes into the afternoon is no matter what happens, no matter how many meetings or what I have to get out, I have to get out of work by this time so that I can battle LA traffic and do the 45-minute commute home
Yeah.
to get home on time to pick up this kid.
So-
Sometimes there's meetings past the time I'm supposed to leave, and then I have to call you and to go pick up Zoe, and this sucks, you know?
Yeah, a lot of big part of the partnership at this stage of parenting is just figuring out the logistics.
I wanted to switch over from the productivity conversations to more of the emotional and our emotional well-being, our relationship well-being. We'll start off first with ourselves. How has having a child affected ourselves emotionally? And then how has it affected our relationship?
Yeah.
I can go first because I know this is like touchy-feely stuff.
Oh. Yeah, because you're good at the touchy-feely stuff.
Yeah. Emotionally, the thing that first comes to mind is that there is a sense of purpose, duty, and obligation outside of myself or even Cathy, another adult. Being in a relationship, of course, I had duty and obligation to build this partnership and maintain this partnership. But now it's to another human being. At least with Cathy, there's like this feedback and this validation and feedback loop. But with the kid, it goes kind of one way for a while before you get any validation or feedback. And even now, she always wants mommy first. For whatever reason, it feels good. You know, it feels good to have this purpose outside of myself and to learn these skill sets of having to fully care for someone and to partner with somebody else to do this. And it just made me a better person, a better manager. And because of the conflicts that have occurred in communication as a parent with Cathy, it's made me a better communicator.
In the earlier, I hear a lot of dads saying in podcasts or wherever they share publicly, the dad is useless in the first year of the baby's life because all they need is the mom because of breastfeeding, and they sleep, eat, and go back to sleep. That's not true. I heard that so many times. I'm like, you can not put in any effort and assume that all the baby needs is the mom. And then also, yeah, the mom needs emotional support and kind of like the support around the feeding and everything, but it's not enough for the dad to say, oh, I'm pretty useless, so I'll just wait for you to give me orders or like wait for you to tell me what to do. Like that was one of the communication barriers we have. Oh, the first, I don't know, maybe 5 years, we're not there yet, so I'm not confident, but maybe 5 years, just matter of adjustment. Kid goes through so many stages of growth, like you have to take on an active role as both parents to learn about them in order for them to give you that feedback loop. And yeah, an infant's not going to tell you you're doing a good job other than it's not crying when you're holding them. There's just constant learning about what their needs and quirks and wants are. And it takes us taking an active role as mom and dad for that to happen. So you can't expect the kid to just bond with you immediately because you're his or her father.
Yeah. How did having a baby affect your emotional well-being?
In terms of the business productivity, which also applies to motherhood, is again just knowing to ask for help. I know initially I was overwhelmed. I didn't know how to ask for help, but also realized asking for help is a skill too. So I learned to ask for help from you explicitly. And over time, because we build that feedback loop, you're learning to initiate help without me asking for help. But something has to start that loop.
Yeah. And I know I separated these questions of individual emotional well-being and our relationship, but everything's interconnected because now I think of it, how my emotional well-being was affected the most was just guilt of letting you down, letting the family down, just because I didn't know how to be a father the first like 6 months to a year of Zoe's life. And I just wasn't able to pick up on cues, or I wasn't educated on how to help. And then once you called that out to me, then I felt, of course, like immense guilt. And then there's also feelings of resentment from whatever, both sides. Not justified resentment. I'm just saying there's these feelings. We did reach out to get help on how to communicate better because of course, if you're going to double the head count from 1 to 2, like you're not like in your household, the communication is not going to all of a sudden get better. You know, It's like something you got to work at. And it was great, the journey we went on, because we learned a lot more about our triggers, ourselves, our prime motivators. Like I'm motivated by secure environments and external validation. I'm motivated by harmony and happiness, right?
Yeah, new experiences.
Yeah, new experiences. So like we learn how to communicate with each other better. And the important thing was learning how to take over complete scopes of work regarding childcare, as opposed to waiting for Cathy to tell me what help she needs. That worked prior to having a kid because we're both adults. So it's like, I need you to pick this up, or I need you to wash the dishes, or I need you to like run this errand. But then when you have a kid, you're so overwhelmed and you don't have time to do all the planning, strategy, and the execution.
I recommend the book Fair Play. Mostly to the moms watching, but dads, if you're open-minded, read it too.
I think once I saw growth and positive results from our improving and investing in communicating better, then it was just like, okay, cool, like growing as a person, father, partner, and all that stuff. And I really like to learn and grow. So if we look forward, or the positive part of the conversation of parenting as a growth opportunity as opposed to just a constraint, I know that having a second kid will not be easy for a multitude of reasons that I'm sure everyone's aware of. But also, I'm curious with that friction and that tension, what the growth opportunities for us will be as far as how will our business evolve? How will our relationship and communication evolve? I know for sure, as you know, like siblings cause the kid to evolve as well. So
I was going to say there's growth opportunities for our daughter that she doesn't know what she's signing up for yet.
Yeah, she's no longer the dictator of the house, you know?
Yeah.
So those are things that I'm looking forward to.
What other positive outcomes do you expect out of this constraint of?
Well, I have a complicated relationship with my father. So having a son, seeing how that will manifest itself. I hope that I have a more positive relationship with my son than I did with my father. Also, some of the things that I've been working on personally in my career and stuff, and outside of my career, is like boundaries and mindfulness. And I was able to integrate that into parenthood and Zoe, but I'm interested to see how that changes and further evolves with the second kid as well. I don't expect perfection. You know, let's see what happens.
For me, I'm practicing more patience, dealing with endless tantrums and crying and not being able to solve their problems right away, but also patience with knowing that in the short term, maybe my business won't grow as fast as I wanted to when I was doing it all on my own or without kids. But I'm patient because I know this is something I enjoy doing. It gives me the creative autonomy that I've always wanted but didn't have, and also gives me creative confidence too, the more I start experimenting with different things in my business. So I know I can't do everything I wanted to this year or maybe even next year. And there's always shiny new objects that are pulling me in their direction, right? And I see people who are 10 years younger, who have more energy than me and more free time, who can pursue those things. And I'm happy for them, but I'm also more accepting now, and I'm patient with my own journey. And after establishing our own values personally, but also for the company, having a sustainable business is important to us. Sustainable in terms of something that we can manage with our current stage in life that is healthy for our family. That might mean like I'm not going to make it into the Forbes 40 under 40 list. I've got a year and a half to go to make that list. It's not a goal for me. A goal is having a family with a healthy work-life integration, because I don't think it's about balance anymore. It's about having healthy integration.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm sure all of us know people who are extremely quote unquote wealthy or successful, but if you don't have time to spend with your kids and be present for them when they need you, then what's the point, right? Money won't buy those problems away, basically.
And also, we know all of this is temporary too in the grand scheme of life. We've had parents of older kids telling us, just savor this time. You're going to miss the times when they run into your bedroom early in the morning to wake you up and want cuddles. And while you're in the thick of it, you don't want to be woken up at 6 a.m. when you had trouble when your kid woke up twice the night before. Parts of us miss the old us. We miss having more free time. We miss being able to film this video any time of the day we want. But we also do try to cherish and be in the present, because looking at photos of our kid, even from like 6 months ago, they grow up so fast. So that's the silver lining.
I know there's a lot of people out there who are makers, artists, running their own business and running their own business with their spouse, with kids and little ones. We see those comments. We see you. We understand the struggle. We ask that same question as well to others. How do you do it?
Yeah.
How do you run a business and seemingly be successful and your kids are well adjusted? It's just a little insight as we share this journey as well, because this is who we are outside of the camera as well, outside these greeting card tutorials. These are the things that we ponder and obsess of. And if anything, we as much, if not more thought into
Definitely.
not just running the business, but the balance of the business and personal health and family health, emotional health. How does it all fit together and what's the right adjustment as we try to navigate this crazy world?
If you've watched this far, and leave us a comment, let us know what you think. We might make more videos like this, so stay tuned.
All right. Thank you.